For the past 35 years, Filipino migrant workers have been the Philippines' primary export. Latest statistics show that there are around 8.5 million Filipinos who are working abroad, and this represents around 10% of the total Filipino population and some 25% of the workforce. And each year, it is said that around 1 million more join the bandwagon because of low income opportunities back home and the lack of employment. In 2010, migrant Filipino workers sent around 18 billion US dollars back to their families in the form of remittances. It is said that these remittances stabilize the Philippine currency, also to stimulate consumer spending and lessen poverty incidences, especially around rural areas in the Philippines. In Taiwan, there are around 94,000 Filipino workers, and there was a dissertation study by SEALS that found out that Taiwan is of special interest as a host country for labor migration because it disallows the same labor rights to migrant workers, and also there are limited opportunities for migrants to socially integrate. The Philippines is a predominantly Catholic nation. Some 90% of the population is Catholic. And that's why the Catholic Church is an important site not only for religious service but also for social affairs. And the late Pope John Paul II, in his encyclical Laborem Exercens, has enjoined and called for the international community to safeguard migrant rights and also to encourage them to for the smooth transition of these migrants into the host countries. The study draws insights from Ernest Bormann's symbolic convergence theory. The theory proposes that members of a social group share fantasies which could result in action. And these fantasies are usually manifested as narratives told to the group, and it draws its force from common experience of the group members and in turn shapes social knowledge. This qualitative study was based on site visits in a Catholic parish in an industrial zone in Taoyuan. For a period of 10 weeks, the homilies were recorded and selectively transcribed for thematic content analysis. Olufowote said that from the symbolic convergence lens, messages are said to be dramatized with the elements of scene, plot, heroes, and villains. So from this formula, it could be said that Filipino migrant workers are the heroes who work in a sometimes hostile foreign land with the goal of sending money back home for the financial security of their families. And also confronting conflicts sometimes with bosses or peers, in sometimes also hazardous workplaces. The overarching narrative motive revolved around the migrants' adaptation to a different culture and their eventual return to the homeland. The frequent addressee of the information from the homilies are the factory workers. There are three themes that emerge from the analysis, and these are tied to the information roles of the Filipino migrant workers and their journey of going abroad and also of returning home. The first theme is that of the migrant worker as a surveyor. The homilies provided information to help migrant workers compare and contrast the home and host countries. So from the transcripts, some of the examples discussed were the differences in both countries' concept of time, also some attitudes in raising families, and even trivial information such as common weather disturbances to expect. The next theme is that of the migrant worker as a survivor. So the homilies provided information to help migrant workers cope with their everyday challenges in the foreign land. Some examples discussed were the common abuses by supervisors or employers, such as not paying overtime dues, and then also means to stay in contact back home with the use of technology and social media, and also some warnings on actions that could cause deportation or forced return for the migrant workers, such as committing criminal offenses, or even for the women if and when they get pregnant. The last theme is that of the migrant worker as a savior returning. So the homilies provided information to help migrant workers maximize opportunities from working abroad. Some of the examples discussed were reminders for the migrant workers to pay for their loans because migrant workers, especially in Taiwan, are contract bound and it's a temporary work situation. So because these migrant workers would pay for applying to overseas jobs. And also the homilies contain some discussion on how to invest in livelihood opportunities or other alternative investments in the home country while they're also working in Taiwan. And also some ideas on reminders to learn and master skills gained from their current work for future applications, maybe in some other destination or back in the Philippines. To conclude this exploratory study, the findings are not generalizable as with any qualitative study, but it suggests that through homilies, the Catholic Church functioned as a platform for the migrant worker community to learn about challenges and opportunities that they deal with, especially in an intercultural context, such as in Taiwan, where there is a language barrier, and they're mostly contained in their factories or dormitories. Thank you, and if you have any questions, I'd love to hear it here.
Thank you very much.